also seek for justice at some point. That's why we have the court. The court is where the common man goes to. Anyways, enough of me talking. The question I want to ask is, where do you draw the line? Being a sportsman, a political sportsman, and going to the court to seek for justice. Because when the president said it was Un-Nigerian for the then president to concede defeat, it meant that Nigerian politicians will never go down with their hands folded. They will take it to tribunal, appeal court, Supreme Court, if there's anyone after Supreme Court, because he also went to court. Remember when he lost, the several elections that he contested for before 2015. He also went to court. He contested those, elections in court. Anyways, it's time for me to introduce my guest. I've got Dr. Prince Eze, who is a lecturer, Department of Political Science and International Relations, Admiralty, University of Nigeria. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Are you as excited about this topic as I am?
Very well. I'm excited.
Welcome.
Thank
All right.
you.
So my first question is, can we say our politicians in Nigeria are good sportsmen, given what the president has tagged it Un-Nigerian? Do we think our politicians are great sportsmen?
Yeah, I will say yes and no.
Okay.
Yes to a large extent, and no to the other extent.
Okay.
I will say for far that they are patriotic, and in the words of the president, they are Un-Nigerian. If we look at it the other way, when someone loses an election and you're convinced that that particular election was actually to a large extent it was free and fair, the best thing to do is to concede to defeat. But on the other way around, when you see that that election was not free and fair and you don't challenge such election, you're also not becoming Un-Nigerian, because you are probably in most cases we've seen instances where such people are being bribed not to seek redress even when the facts are there. So we can say for sure that to a large extent we've seen cases where people see elections in Nigeria, Nigerian politicians see elections that are free and fair and they concede defeat, not just that of Jonathan. We've seen several other cases thereafter. We have also seen where politicians challenge these elections. That's also a show of sportsmanship, not just giving it to defeat, particularly when the facts are clear that these elections are lost, that these elections were rigged. In Nigeria, elections are rigged before, during, and even after the election.
I don't know. You're just telling me. I just said it for the first time.
So it becomes a wrong thing to do when elections are not free and fair, and in quotes, because you just want to become Un-Nigerian and you fold your hand and concede to defeat. So those are the two ways to look at it.
So let me get you clearly. You're saying one way to look at it is you concede defeat when you know that you lost the election.
Very well.
The other way is when you know that there were irregularities and you go to contest the election because you want to make sure that the right person did win the election.
Yes, we've seen such cases. In fact, almost all the elections that were contested, majority of those cases has been won at the tribunal, at the Supreme Court. That's because the facts are there. And truth is an objective concept. If election was rigged, there are evidences to show that that particular election was actually rigged. And so if you can present the fact, at the end of the day, you are becoming more patriotic by challenging a wrongdoing, by challenging electoral malpractice. So you are also patriotic. It's the show of sportsmanship.
Which brings me to my next question. Have we ever had an election since 1999 that did not have electoral irregularities?
No, to the best of my knowledge, no. In as much as we don't have any perfect election anywhere in the world, but when election is free and fair, there must be some indices. It must be to a very large extent. There must be clear evidence to actually show that this person actually won this election with minor irregularity. Not when the weight of evidence before everybody is so glaring. And so we've had election in Nigeria. Our democracy, we have been moving from one stage to another stage. Yeah, we've had elections that have irregularities. We've moved to that extent to have more free and fair election, but we have not gotten there yet. We are yet to get to a stage where it will become abundantly clear once elections are conducted that this election, this person won, and there is no need to go to court.
Okay, so we are not there yet. That's
Yes.
what I've just gleaned from your recent statement. So going back to the way the president put it, would you then say Goodluck Jonathan was being patriotic or was being a good sportsman? Because you have just said we are not there yet, and since 1999, to the best of your knowledge, we've not had an election without irregularities, to the point where we can say, okay, despite these minor issues, the election was free and fair and credible. So can we then say, even the president has said on several occasions that he wants to bequeath a good electoral system, because the electoral system before he came into office was below par. So if that is the case, do you think Goodluck Jonathan did the right thing?
Well, yes, I think Goodluck Jonathan actually did the right thing, to become Un-Nigerian, as the president, put it. He did the right thing to the extent that, one, for sure, that particular election, we are not saying there were no irregularities in that election, but it was very minor. We can still remember that even the president, Jonathan, when he went to vote at his own polling unit, the machine could not even recognize his own voter's card. He could not be properly identified and accredited to vote. So there were minor irregularities. But in 2015, majority of Nigerians needed a change. They were, so to say, tired of PDP since 1999. So you saw majority of persons said they just needed a change. They needed another party. Since 1999, it has been PDP. So irrespective of the different irregularities that happened, but to very large extent, that election was free and fair. So what the president simply did was to say, in as much as these elections are not void in totality of irregularity, to a large extent, remember that he was also the one who brought some innovation in that election, and those innovations were implemented. So he said, well, irrespective of the fact that this election has pockets of irregularities here and there, but to a large extent, Nigeria has spoken that they needed a change. And for him being a sportsman, why we only applaud Jonathan is that there are several other Nigerian politicians, even when the facts of the matter are there before them, that they actually lost, that will not concede defeat. There are so many who want to doubt for the sake of doubting. Yes, because at that point in time, Jonathan was the sitting president. He has the instrument of the state. He has the resources of the state. He can afford to say no, use every means of the state, every resources of the state to remain in power, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. The heads we could do is to talk and all of that, but being a sportsman, and why we respect him, was that he was able to say, yes, there are irregularity, very minor, and so let me concede to defeat.
But when you say very minor, okay, let's compare and contrast 2015 2023 technology. What's the word now? Technology innovation used in or during the elections. In 2015, it was the first time a card reader or any technology device was used. In 2023, we saw the introduction of the beavers and IREV, right? Compare and contrast. The differences, are they much or are they similar?
I think if you ask me, there will be no basis for comparison.
Why?
Because in 2015, the card reader was used.
Okay.
And because of the introduction of card reader, we avoided, or were able to overcome the situation we used to have before.
Which was?
Where, for example, in state A, the total number of registered voters would be 5 million. Total number of registered voters. But at the end of the day, because there are no record to show that electronically, at the end of the day, during the election, the total number of persons who voted in the election will now be 10 million.
So double voting. Okay.
Now that was overcome because of through the card reader we could actually estimate, okay, this is the number of people who actually registered, and at the end of the day we were able to cross-examine that with the number of persons who actually voted. So that overvoting did not happen again. Now 2023 was supposed to be a step forward. We overcame that particular challenge through that innovation in 2019.
So that's the similarity now.
Yeah, that's similarity. Now in 2023 it was now supposed to be another dimension to it, which is now to transmit these results electronically to INEC website in Abuja, such that because it was observed in 2019 and 2015 that even after that, at the level of collation, they now add figures and remove and all of that. So what 2023 is supposed to do was now to take us a step forward by transmitting these results as envisaged and as promised by the INEC chairman directly from the pre-unit, so that there will be no room for manipulation. But we couldn't achieve that. We went back to the manual method.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to pause you. We have a commercial break coming up. After the commercial break, we'll continue from where you stop. Hold that thought. How un-Nigerian are you? That's the question we're looking at this evening. I am Khaled, and my guest, Dr. Prince Eze, who's a lecturer, Department of Political Science and International Relations, Admiralty, University of Nigeria. And we've been talking about, how to be un-Nigerian. Doc, before we went on the break, you were telling us the similarities between the 2015 elections and the 2023 elections, even though I'm more concerned about the differences, but I'll wait for you. So continue from where you started. We just talked about, innovations. One was to stop overvoting, while the other was to transmit results, to stop rigging, I believe. So let's hear what you were saying.
Yeah, so the point I was making is that 2023 was supposed to take our democracy to another level, through the innovation of transmitting results from polling units. If you watch how elections are being conducted, say for example in South Africa, elections results are transmitted from the polling unit to where they have where they have their collation center, the central collation of center. And so there will be no room for anybody to manipulate the result figures. Everyone who is at that central collation center sees every figure that is coming from the polling unit. And so that is what we are believing that is going to happen in 2023, where this result, and that's why so much resources were invested, to purchase beavers, where this result will be transmitted from the polling unit direct, to the central unit where they are monitoring the election from. But this did not happen. We still went back to the old method, where we now have to collate manually.
But we also went back to the old method in 2015 because, like you earlier said, the card readers did not work in many situations, including for the president at the time. Yeah. So can we then say that the differences are not much, and that if we say 2015 was not necessarily free of irregularities, then 2023 is also not free of irregularities?
But I think the irregularities are more. That's my view.
Because if you say that in 20 it was okay for President time to concede defeat, I want to now ask, is it not okay for the key politicians to also concede defeat? Because you must be aware that the president-elect has extended a hand of fellowship to other key players. A couple of days ago, he met with one of the presidential candidates, Kwankwaso, outside the country, in France, I believe. And there was the talk about forming a government where all of them can contribute and ensure governance trickles down to the people. So going back to 2015, looking at how it went, and looking at 2023, looking at how it has gone, can we not now say that maybe we all should be un-Nigerian like Good was?
Well, just as you rightly mentioned, even the person who made this statement of being un-Nigerian, President Muhammad Buhari, he was Nigerian. All election, the only election that he accepted was the election that he won. Every other election, he went to court to seek redress. So what I think basically, going to court is the most civilized thing to do. Going to court is the most civilized thing to seek redress, instead of seeking for self-help. It is not yet court. I not say that because P2B and other persons have won court, they are un-Nigerian. They are not un-Nigerian. In fact, it is even patriotic to also do so when you have evidence that shows that a particular election is being rigged. Because the implication of an election is that whosoever becomes who takes the leadership, for example the president, he doesn't enjoy majority support. He suffers what he calls his legitimacy crisis. People don't need person as someone who is ultimately elected. So I think it is for the on the other hand, if they also want, in the case they are to just to do so, if they also think there's anything
as seeking justice. In 2015, like you already have also mentioned, the then president could have used the power of state to do as he pleased, and refused to accept the result at the time. But he made a policy, or he had a belief system that said no man's ambition is worth the blood of any Nigerian. That being said, he was seeking peace. When we put 2015 and 2023 side by side, one is for peace, one is for justice. Which is more important from your standpoint?
Peace and justice, both of them are important.
And I said more important. I said more important. Which is more important from your standpoint, from your view?
You can't have justice when there is no peace.
True.
And you can't also have peace without justice.
True.
So,
but when it's justice about peace, a lot of people, I mean, if you ask PDP, especially the one who was shouted, the results was announced. It's not in my head now. The one who the man in 2015. Orubebe, thank you. If you ask PDP, they tell you, the chairman at the time decided to do the more look, the less you see. I'm not saying, I mean, in various newspaper articles and all of that. If you ask people from the PDP, they would argue with you in that direction. But then President chose peace. Now, if people from PDP now and Labour Party, I would argue with you, and they are seeking justice. So that's why I'm now asking, peace and justice, which should you tilt towards?
Well, I think peace we have to, in this context, peace we have to come first before you can seek for justice. You have to be alive. You have to live in a peaceful environment.
Okay.
Before you can talk about justice. They don't win the election, that they shouldn't seek for redress in the courts. They can do that.
Okay.
But in doing so, they must not be violent towards it. They must all do that within the framework provided by the law, which I think they are doing. They must not do that through promoting violence or making statements that would tear Nigeria apart.
Okay.
They must do it in a peaceful means and method, which I think is what they are already doing. So I would like to make the point again and again that going to court to seek redress, there's nothing wrong with it, and it doesn't mean that you are not un-Nigerian. It doesn't mean that you are not patriotic. Like I will continue to say and even over and over again, the person who made that statement went to court over and over again.
All right, let's hear from the callers. How un-Nigerian are you? Because that should be our new mantra, being un-Nigerian. Because the outgoing president, has admitted that Goodluck Jonathan, His Excellency, former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, was un-Nigerian when he considered defeat. I don't know if that statement was, a subtle message to the current players in the political scenery. I do not know. I'm not in the president's mind. But you see, I'm excited about being un-Nigerian because it means that our mentality is that of anti-developments. And so for us to grow to greater heights, like the president has said, you have to be un-Nigerian. And you see, where that un-Nigerian statement emanated from was when he was talking to the people who had served him for 8 years, and he was telling them, collect salary. You did not ask for employment letter. You did not ask for appointment letter, nothing. You just, for 8 years on your own, worked for me, just like that, for love only. That is un-Nigerian. All right, so I'm going to open the phone lines. 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003. Now for WhatsApp and text messages, use this number 0809 030 6416. How un-Nigerian are you? Or would you like to be Nigerian? Would you like to be Nigerian? I really want to know from you. Seek peace, seek justice. Which is it for you? Like my guest has said, the lecturer, the doc, he has said there is no peace without justice. There is no justice without peace. But hey, in this case where you have to choose one, in this conversation that the president has brought to the fore, which would you take? Being a Nigerian or being un-Nigerian? I'm going to take my first call. AB calling from Sani Abacha Road.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
AB from House on the Rock.
Welcome.
you talk about President Jonathan Muhammad Buhari in 2015 now. Jonathan was one of the best players in that 2015. So when I go back, I begin to look at Maradona, I look Pele, I look Didi Drama them, I look Messi them, I look at the system which I use to watch them. One of the best players in 2015.
Alright.
Outgoing president statement. Now, only former President Goodluck Jonathan that was on
Miriam, he mentioned that the members of the BMO were Un-Nigerian, and like I said, that's where it started. That's where the conversation of Un-Nigerian started from.
And it seems that only Jonathan
it can't be only done because is it Garba Shehu or the other person? You know, they didn't collect salary for 8 years, and he said that was Un-Nigerian. So that's what I'm trying to correct.
Oh no, I don't want to talk about what I don't know. They didn't collect salaries, but we don't know what is what all of them are Nigerians, and you can't tell someone to do what I do, don't do what I do, just do what I say. So let him allow everybody to seek justice as much as they want. Let them have the peace of mind, because that justice, whether they like it or not, as long as it has been given out by the Supreme Court, can bring a little succor, can bring a little peace. So let him allow everybody to be a Nigerian. After all, we are all Nigerians. Let it be. Let him not advise us to do what he cannot do.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Miriam from Okrika. Gabriel is calling from Rumusi. Is Gabriel Nigerian or Un-Nigerian? Let's find out.
Good evening, Canada.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Canada, if you think of the then President Goodluck Jonathan conceding defeat in 2015 election, you agree with me that let's boil it back to the statement of the President Muhammad Buhari on Nigeria. Now, let's say, I think a lot of Nigeria, if we find themselves in that position, I believe they will do everything within their reach to claim what they call their mandate. And that is why we saw that period, 2015, we saw Orubebe in the center of the coalition that we are crying and lamenting that election has been portal. Being on Nigeria, it's not just you conceding defeat, it's you allowing peace to reign. Want to demand for justice. I think he has every means to claim his mandate as a sitting president. Now the president-elect has taken over, is there, and P2B and Atiku Abubakar, they are in court because they feel the election is not satisfactory to them. That's justice. The place of justice does not take the place of peace, but the place of peace has to take the place of justice.
Really?
for equity to play.
Wow. Okay. All right then. All right. Thank you very much, Gabriel. Gabriel, for your time and contribution. Obiora from Poland. Really interesting.
Good afternoon, Canada.
Yeah. Good.
I'm not looking for acting for justice. The outgoing president for 3 times sought justice. He didn't get it in his own pursuit. I think the whole concept is confusing, and it's terrible coming from a president. President goes seeking justice for things.
No, it did not. Obiora, calm down. He did not say people should not seek justice. Nah. Okay. He only said it was Un-Nigerian for the former president. That is you deducing what you want to deduce. But me, wait now. Obiora, I want to explain what I'm talking about. On my show, okay. I am now saying let's compare, because when you say Un-Nigerian, are you saying that every other person is a Nigerian because they have acted in this particular way? But that's not to say don't seek justice. Two different things.
No. When you categorize into two, that some are Nigerians and some are Un-Nigerians.
So those that seek for justice, in their mind, they are un-Nigerian.
No, they are Nigerian.
And those who seek for peace,
they are Nigerian.
Anyway, the point is this. I think peace and justice are two, let me put it together. It's like two eyes. A man's two eyes. Both of them should be open. Otherwise, you are not complete. You can't pursue peace without justice, or justice without peace.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense.
Right.
That's my opinion.
All right. You rather be
Nigeria prosper.
Amen. You rather be Nigerian. You rather be a Nigerian there. Elumba is calling from Moji. Elumba, welcome.
Yeah. I greet you.
I greet you right back. Welcome.
This is Engineer Lomba calling from Moji.
Welcome then.
You see, when you are talking about being Nigeria or not being Nigeria, it's that in this country.
All right. Thank you very much.
You understand?
Elumba, I think.
Brother, these followers, too many people enough.
No. There is no. Come on now. We can't make blanket statements like that. I was even going to tell you to go take a chill pill. Relax so that when you call back in, you can make a constructive. Using this conversation, build knowledge, build society. We can have a better society, and who knows, even have a better electoral process. Right? That's why we are X-raying these cases. It's not to come and insult. And I've said it on several occasions. When you're talking about the governor, you're talking about the president, or even a local government chairman, you should respect those offices, even if you do not agree on policy or personal terms with the individuals. It's a simple one. But let's get back to the guest. Let's look at it from a diplomatic angle. Right? At what point do you now say you're right? Yes, or rather, yes, you are wrong. You are wrong, but for the sake of peace, because two wrongs don't make it right. I know they are no go agree. It's your shit that was at what point do you not say I agree? I may have been the victor, but you know what? For the sake of the progress of my people, I'm going to let this one go. Given that we are also looking at strengthening our systems, and that's why I brought in Goodluck, because I was asking if Goodluck could have done, why did he not? Because if he had gone, he would have also been strengthening the system, given that he was president at the time. So looking at it from a diplomatic angle, where do you draw the line, given that if you don't like
well this line first is immediately the election, when you convince that just doubt for the sake of doubt the election to a very it to defeat. At another point, when you have gone to tribunal, you've gone to seek redress, and the court, particularly the Supreme Court, being the highest court of the land, has reaffirmed the decision of the electoral body. At that point, I think you should not take any further action.
Okay. As
we always say, let the courts decide. And as politicians has continued to say, go to court. So at that point, when you've gone to court and court has looked at it and reaffirmed earlier decision, at that point you should just let go, because you shouldn't take laws into your hands to take any other further action or to incite your followers to go violence. So those are the two areas. Another dimension to it is also when you see that the general good or the general interest is at stake, as against personal interest, as against personal ambition. For example, if you look at 2015, you see that before that particular election, there are certain